Cinematic. InsideAMind means everything to me, to be honest. I've gone through a lot myself mentally, going through my university years, going through my school years, and having this podcast was kind of the way I could release that and the way I could help other people like me.
I'd say passion, enthusiasm, and education.
The first thing that comes to mind is community. Second, purpose, because I believe that every person needs to have a purpose in life. Without it, we just become wayward. I 100% feel like it helped me find out so much more about who I am as an individual. Third word, brotherhood. Brotherhood comes up to me.
My favourite episode is episode 1 with Joe, when I messaged Joe probably about a year ago today that you're watching this. We were just very raw. We just spoke very openly about how we felt, and it was almost like a therapy session for both of us. And the response we had off it, even though the whole production side was really rubbish looking back at it, and we were awful at talking, that one meant a lot to me. So that would be my favourite episode over the past year, episode 1.
I think having my lifelong friend in Troy Cook coming onto the podcast was probably the most emotional I felt, either before, during and after it, just because of how close him and I are and what I know that would have meant to him to be there and what it meant for me as a result of that. I think from a personal point of view, that would be definitely up there for me in terms of my favourite episode. For
myself personally, it was the Will Adolphi episode. Because when we sat in the room with Will, I could just feel, I knew where he was coming from, speaking about the masculinity crisis. It's more than just a couple of guys just talking about mental health. It's more than that. It's a big community, and an ever-growing community. It's a way of life.
Honestly, I think Joe and Siobhan might say something similar, but on the Jamie Clements episode, someone with ADHD like me, I'm very erratic in the way I think. I'm very all guns blazing and 100 tabs in my head going off at once, constantly. Not necessarily the breath work as a whole, but the lesson of knowing that there is something out there if you're willing to go put yourself out there to do the work was probably one of the most valuable lessons I've learned. Is if you do have ADHD, like myself, if you are struggling mentally, you'll find something that works for you, and you'll find something that you'll be able to not combat it with, but be able to help you with your problems. And for me, a lot of that is just the loudness in my head.
Elliot I.A.M podcast, the Wave Wrangler, that was a very, very special hour and a half that we shared together. That was an incredible experience, having Tom and I interview Elliot, and the answers he gave were so profound, and the interview was just, Tom and I spoke about this afterwards. Genuinely, the whole hour and 10 we had him into the actual interview itself, other than the half an hour beforehand when we sort of got to know him on a more personal level. And I know loads of friends of mine who've spoken really highly of Elliot and what he stands for, but nothing could have prepared Tom and I for the answers that he gave and how passionate he was for what he did. And him and I had loads in common. So I think I was just, for those that have watched the episode on the YouTube version, have just seen me nodding the entire way through, just because I found so much common ground with him. It was just such a profound experience for me personally. So that was probably one of the ones that I remember the most fondly, for sure.
Annalie Howling. And when you learn and understand how to rid yourself of that shame, all the barriers of resistance just melt away and you can thrive as an individual. I would say that's one of the most valuable lessons that I learned.
Start trying things. I think I was very lost. I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do out of university. I knew I wanted to do something. I didn't know what it was I wanted to do. And it was when I started trying things, I started failing, I started learning, and I started falling in love with the whole process of this, the podcast. A lot of people watching this will think things are going to fall in their lap, and they're going to think, life's just going to hand you this amazing thing. And it's normally when you're not looking for something, that's when it comes. And I wasn't looking for this podcast. I just thought, you know what? I'll try it and I'll see where it ends up. And it has been the most rewarding, my favorite thing in the world. And something that I literally tell everyone, please, if you have the opportunity to, go and try something. You know, it doesn't have to be podcasting, it doesn't have to be rugby on my end, it doesn't have to be football, tennis, it doesn't have to be running, it doesn't have to be investment banking. It just has to be something that works for you.
Start your journey now and don't wait. I'd say the longer that you wait for something to happen and you wait for doors to open for you, they never will. And it'll be a lot harder to open when they do. I'd say if you have something that you want to change, be proactive and change it. I would say don't, and ask for help in that as well. I think if you're waiting for something to happen, it won't.
Take the leap, have no reservations. I just decided to take action and stop caring about whatever, family, society, or anyone else had to say about it. I did it for myself, and now I've found, perhaps for the first time in my life, the drive and fire that really gets me out of bed in the morning. You know, the type of things that you'll see in motivational videos. This is something that I feel every single day when I come to the studio, when I have a conversation with Tom or Joe, when I sit behind the scenes and I plug in all the systems and we roll the camera. And now I do it professionally. So that's the one piece of advice I'd give to anyone who's listening to this, is just go and you will work it out along the way. If you want it that deeply, if you want it that badly, you will get there.
Now you're going to hear from a few of our favourite guests. Woo.
Hey guys, Will Adolphi here. I just wanted to shoot you a huge thank you. You know, when I came on the podcast, it was my first time going public with the story that I have, and yeah, you really did make me feel welcome. You asked so many interesting, sort of curious questions, and I couldn't have asked for a better space from two lads that, yeah, I really admire and respect. So lots of love. Can't wait to come on again and just keep doing your thing, because I know the podcast has so much to offer.
1 year for the boys. Joe, Tom, congratulations guys. Your pod is honestly fantastic. You're doing the world a favour. You're helping so many people. It was an honour for me to be part of the Christmas special. That's a key memory for me always. Really appreciate it. And yeah, really looking forward to the next chapter with InsideAMind. So congratulations, keep kicking on, keep making the world a better place, and yeah, we'll see you soon.
Hi Tom, hi Joe, Sean Waiting here. Just a message to say huge congratulations on your first anniversary. It's an incredible milestone that you've got to. I was very grateful to come in and speak to you, Tom. Unfortunately, not you at the time, Joe, but we had a really good conversation about all things mental health, AI, technology and ethics of business, something still very close to my heart. And one quote that stood out to me was from one of your guests, Will Adolphi, when he said that negative attention is better than no attention. And it was in this conversation around toxic masculinity, and just one of those kind of standout quotes that have really stuck with me. I know it stuck with Will, that's why he shared this, but yeah, a real standout moment. Keep it up, and I look forward to more episodes coming out. Take care guys.
I was very grateful to be asked to be a guest on the InsideAMind podcast with the lovely Joe and Tom. What I really enjoyed about their podcast is it's very conversational. It's two guys talking about mental health, which is amazing because we need more male voices in this space. But also just very conversational, very natural around understanding mental health, breaking down the stigma and helping people to think about their own. You guys are doing an amazing job. Keep smashing it.
Hello Tom and hello Joe. Thank you so much for inviting me on your podcast to talk about yoga and open water cold swimming. My favourite moment was when both yourself and Joe had to consider and take that pause as to whether we speak on an inhale or an exhale. And just that moment of reflection, if we could all take that on a day-to-day basis, would be my takeaway nugget for all of it. Thank you.
Happy 1 year anniversary InsideAMind Pod. Over the last year, I've really enjoyed hearing from a range of experts from different walks of life, different backgrounds, different industries, but all just looking towards the same thing. I've also loved just getting to know the co-hosts and understanding a little bit more about their backgrounds and experiences. It's been wonderful. We'll bring on the next year.
Yes, guys, congratulations on 1 year of the podcast. You've done such an incredible job bringing together some amazing people to have fascinating conversations, and it was a pleasure and a joy to be a part of it with you. I think my favorite moment from our conversation was the moment where Joe and I had an opportunity just to reflect on really how long we've known each other for, and the vulnerability in that moment for me, and the history of, I suppose, our relationship and how that's evolved over time was a really touching and special moment for me, and something that stayed with me. So thank you again for having me. Congratulations, and I'll see you guys soon.
Hi InsideAMind, it's Annalie Howling. I hope you can hear me okay on holiday here in the south of France. Joe and Tom asked me to name my top 2 favourite moments. Well, they actually asked me to name one, but I was on 2 episodes, so I think I get 2 goes. And from episode 1, it was talking about the fawn trauma response. I loved that conversation because I could feel the shifts in the understanding, and I love the phrasing and questions from Tom in particular there about how it might show up in things like games of rugby or conversations with friends. And the response that we had afterwards was unbelievable, the questions we had come through. And in episode 2, I was actually having a really personal experience, working through something. And the guys held a really amazing space for me. So that I feel very personally grateful for being able to come on and share some things with you, and I hope make a shift. And congratulations on the 1 year anniversary, guys.
This is the InsideAMind 1 year anniversary.